So you're in a long distance relationship and you don't know whether to apply for a K1 fiance visa or a CR marriage visa. In this video, I'm going to tell you some of the pros and cons of each. My name is Jonathan and I'm in the process of a K1 fiance visa. Me and my fiance applied for a K1 fiance visa which just got recently approved. And so I'm going to tell you some of the pros and cons and specifically focus on the K1 fiance visa. Like I say, me and my fiance applied in April and we got approved in July, 3 months later. The only next step we have to do is I actually have to go to the consulate for an interview and a medical, and then basically get the visa and I'll go over. So let's focus firstly on the costs. The K1 fiance visa, the government fees alone are going to cost around $2,000, and the Cr1 marriage visa is going to cost around $1,200. That's of this year, 2019. So therefore, the Cr1 visa is slightly cheaper and more cost effective than the K1 fiance visa. Apparently the Cr1 marriage visa also takes longer to approve. I'm on a Facebook group and there's been people that have been waiting over 1.5 to 2 years. With the K1 fiance visa it takes much quicker. Like I say, in our case it took 3 months and the average is 4 to 6 months. It could take 9 months, but it's unlikely. Like I say, the average is between 4 and 6 months. That's with the K1 fiance visa. The difference is if you're doing a marriage visa, a Cr1 marriage visa, that's when you go over to the immigrant's country. You get married there, then you come back and then you apply to have the immigrant come to your country. It's a lengthier process, but it's cheaper. The K1 fiance visa is when you go over to the immigrant's country, you get engaged, and then you come back and apply for citizen, or you apply for the immigrant to come over. So like I said, it's around $2,000 for the K1 fiance visa. What you need to do is, you as the American citizen, first and foremost is you need to meet you need to have met your spouse within the last 2 years. If you haven't ever met, or if you haven't met in the last 2 years, you can apply for a waiver, which is probably going to even be more expensive. And if you've never met before, it's unlikely they're going to accept it because you got to prove your relationship legit. So it's unlikely for them to approve it if you've never met. It's not impossible, but you have to, if you're going to apply for a waiver, you're going to have to prove that it's because of religious beliefs or extreme hardships or something of that sort. Also, the US citizen, secondly, has to be a US citizen. They have to prove that they're a US citizen. Number 3, they have to prove that they're single. They need to be eligible to marry the US citizen as well as the immigrant. If you were previously divorced, you have to send in your divorce papers and prove that from the court, and prove that you're eligible to remarry, and that your status is currently single. You also need to meet the financial requirements, which is 100% of the poverty guidelines, above 100%. And when you apply for adjustment of status in your green card, it has to be over 125%. But I'm not going to get into too much detail about that now. I will in videos to come. So some advice I would give is, when you do go over to visit the immigrant, take as many photos as you can, preferably with date stamps, with a time and date stamp on it. But it's not a must, but it's beneficial to do that. You don't have to take it with their family members, but I would advise you to go as many places as you can, visit different places. Also, post them on your social media accounts, especially Facebook, because the USCIS will probably check your Facebook. So make sure that you put your status on your relationship status on Facebook on public, and also put your pictures on public. And remember, this advice is just for people that are genuine in relationships, that really love each other. Because I've seen, where the woman's 22, the man's 60. It just looks fishy. I'm not saying love's impossible, that they don't really love each other, but it just seems fishy. So I'm making these videos specifically for those of you who have authentic relationships. What else? So like I say, it takes much quicker to apply for the K1 Fiance visa. A little bit more costly, around $2,000, and you must remember that's government fees, $2,000, just over $2,000. You still have to include the costs of your plane tickets, your flight fares, and so on if you're going to fly over. So that's additional costs that you have to include. So it can be quite pricey. Also, when you apply, specifically now the US immigrant, make sure you put your stuff neat in a file together. My fiance because I'm in the immigrant, she's the US citizen. She's actually sent, I think the requirement is like 10 photos, but she actually included more. Just make sure it's neat and in order, easy for them to look at, presentable, easy for them to read through, and make sure everything's in order, that it looks good. What else? In the next videos we'll be talking, I'll be running over some of the prices of more in particular, and also the poverty guidelines and how that all works. If you've got any questions, do drop them in the comment section below. And if you're not subscribed, do subscribe, because we'll be making videos and giving you updates on our progress. Like I say, it's been approved. I just need to go for the actual interview and the medical. So we'll keep you updated on that, and make also more videos that will inform you guys more and help you more. So until then, till the next video, stay blessed and take care. Cheers.